Note 20 is where it's controversial. So I want to deep dive into that and kind of just do a little bit of a background on what I'm thinking on the Note 20. Yeah. So we're gonna switch over to it. We're gonna transition. Obviously, you guys like the transition. Come on now, you know I gotta do you guys nice in it. Note 20 series. So obviously, you guys know I'm based in the UK, so I'm gonna be giving UK prices. I'm on the Samsung UK website, and we're looking at where these devices are sitting. And the big boy is the 512 gig version of the Note 20 Ultra, only coming in a 5G variant, and it's 1,279 smackaroos of the Queen's head on paper money for that bad boy. And it's the full kitchen sink and the full works, obviously, you know. Peak brightness, new peak brightness of 1,500 nits, which is phenomenal for screen brightness on a smartphone. Micro SD card, new S Pen with latency really dropped down to 9 millimeters. Like, it's the big boy. It's the big boy. 256 is £100 cheaper, £100 more. You get a 512 gig. You might as well if you're spending that kind of money. And then the normal Note 20. This is where things get a bit interesting. The normal Note 20, in that sense, where it comes at two variants, one storage SKU, flat display, LTE 4G only, 849 if you're buying it cash outright, no monthly payments, no down payments. 5G variant, which you might as well get at this stage for the money that you're spending. Honestly, that's me. But again, you might want to save that money. But we're going to discuss whether this phone itself just makes sense for where it sits. Honestly, if it makes sense for where it sits, that's where the qualms really are. If it makes sense for where it sits. But let's go to GSM Arena. I'll switch over. Yeah, this is the Note 20 5G. The Note 20 5G, very much the same phone. Okay, now pre this, we've not got the latest Gorilla Glass, right? We've got Gorilla Glass 5 on the front, and then we've got a plastic back. Still get the same IP68 water resistance, 1.5 meters, 30 meters, for 30 minutes, stylus, but it doesn't seem to have the new latency drop of 9 milliseconds, which is interesting. Here's where it really irks me. Remember the price. We're looking at this, yeah, £50 shy of a bag, and you're giving me a 6.7 inch display. Fair enough, it's probably bright. Full high definition plus, which in a way is still not a problem, but it's a problem. And I'll explain why it is a problem. Gorilla Glass 5, which not even 6, or the new 7, which is obviously the Victus, no high refresh rate. You are not giving me a high refresh rate. 60 hertz? You can't even give me 90 hertz? Like, does it hurt you that much, pun intended, hashtag bars, for you to be able to do that? Nah, come off it. No way. And then for us lot in Europe, we get the ill-fated Exynos 990. And again, if you guys haven't watched it, part of my acapella series when Exynos was great, grand scheme of things, we don't have a choice, right? We didn't get the Exynos 992, we didn't get the Snapdragon 865 Plus. One storage SKU. So if we look at the camera standard affairs, man, 64 megapixel telephoto, just like what we saw, hybrid zoom, records in 8K 24 frames a second, yada yada yada. Like, we know this from the, you know, S20 series. It's a strong camera hardware. No pixel bin on the selfie, 10 megapixels, so it just outputs what it needs to output. Decent sensor size, pixel size is massive, dual pixel autofocus, selfie with the video up to 4K 60 UHD. Awesome. Like, all of that stuff is there. Let's look at what we've got here. So in the UK, it looks like we are getting the 256 gig model rather than a 128, because I was worried about us getting a 128, but it seems like it's a 256 gig model. If I go to pre-order and see Wagwan. All right, so one thing I am happy about is it's not the 128 gig that we're getting in UK. It's the 256 gig model. That negates it a little bit. When I tell you negates it a little bit, you get 4 months free YouTube Premium, okay, which is YouTube Premium. I use YouTube Premium all the time. It's sick. And obviously you've got the option to claim a free gift with the Buds Plus. Yeah, so some things are negating, and it's a good look. I actually like that. The Buds Plus are really good. My problem is the plastic back and also the high refresh rate not being there. Let's do a quick comparison. This is where the issue is. And if you look at the S20 Plus, you've got a high refresh rate display, same display size. If you see it here, same display size, 6.7 inches, much higher resolution, and it is high refresh rate. Same processor, same storage, but this time you get micro SD. You're seeing where the issue is. You're seeing where you become your own worst enemy, And the only differentiating factor is that you're putting down the S Pen. And if you look at the S Pen differences, it looks like the normal Note 20 doesn't get the new reduced S Pen latency of 9 milliseconds. And I think that also has to do with the fact that it does not have a high refresh rate display. That helps with the touch response time. That's another issue that I'm seeing. That is another issue that I'm seeing. If we look at the battery capacity as well, slightly bigger battery, that kind of makes sense because obviously the S Pen taking up space and whatnot, and the reverse wireless charging, we've got that there. So storage wise is where it wins with the normal Note 20. So having broken all of that down and try and dissect where my mindset is with this whole thing, is the phone handicapped because of the plastic back? No. Handicapped means that will it stop working or work defectively? It will not, right? It will not. The reason why it will not is that the subframe is still strong aluminium, or aluminum for my for my US and my Canadian brothers and sisters. But it's aluminium. We say aluminium. Aluminium subframe is what makes the rigidity of the product and the integral structure of the product solid. So plastic has its advantages. My point is that high refresh rate display not being there. What is wrong with 90 Hertz? You are upgrading from last year, and a high refresh rate will benefit the S Pen way more than anything. You could have got that milliseconds response time way down. Maybe not to 9 milliseconds, but what exactly is wrong with 90 Hertz? I would have taken 1080p at 90 Hertz. I'm at this point right now where the whole notion of high refresh rate being a gimmick is a personal choice. I don't think it's a gimmick because I see the benefit of it, and I've used displays that don't have 60 Hertz, and it jars me knowing how much scrolling I do on my social media, how much typing I do, the benefits of a high touch response, and all the things that come with it. Right? That's me personally. So I've made this analogy that at that price point, it's like buying a Grand Tour car and not having cruise control, because your priority is that, hey, I don't need cruise control because I'm going to drive the car manually all the way through. Good. You can drive it that way. Doesn't mean at that price point, it shouldn't have cruise control. The same as where we are right now. These smartphones are becoming way too expensive already. So certain things have to be there based on the asking price. That's like saying that, hey, because it's a high-end phone and I don't use wireless charging shouldn't be there. Fine, I don't use wireless charging, but come a certain price point, it needs to be there, because you have to tell me what's your asking. Why are you charging that much to not have a certain feature there that you know is the integral part to how you interact with the device, especially a device that is based around a unique stylus accessory that separates it from the normal S range. So now the normal S range has better value, even though it doesn't have an S Pen, when you're not given a feature that will complement the S Pen that you did with the Ultra version, that really helps that experience of making it feel more lifelike or more paper-like and much more responsive and much more smoother. That's where my issue is. And it's fine if they did that and they charge a considerably low amount, right? There's already a problem with the split system on the chips that they used, the Exynos 990 and the Snapdragon 865 Plus. That's already an issue in itself, not even for performance, but potential battery life issues. And now this, what was actually so difficult to put a 90 Hertz display as a differentiating factor between a 120 Hertz that you're getting a quad high definition option in there with a much brighter panel at 1500 nits of peak, to a 1080p 90 Hertz display, at least if the peak brightness was only 1000 nits. Forget the other competition like OnePlus or whatnot, because I've already made a video on it on why network reach matters. You're gonna have more reach because you're Samsung. You're gonna have more of these premium products in more places for people to buy them on a monthly. And to the normal person that comes in, as they get referenced as the average consumer, right, they may not care. But my point is, when things are developing better, I don't think it's fair that the average consumer, as they like to be referenced to, or the normal buyer coming in, should be shortchanged for that price. And you make the argument that, hey, they did that on purpose to make the Ultra look better. Yeah, probably true. Why make the Note 20 if it's basically not going to sell? It's a lot of e-waste. It's a lot of redundancy in terms of product development when you're clearly nerfing it to the point where you're trying to make it look good. Why not just bring out the one product that looks good and makes sense? The S20 series makes sense. Even all the way down to the normal S20 at 6.2 inches. That display size and one-handability, and still having a quad high definition display that goes to 60 Hertz or 1080p display that goes to 120 Hertz with a 4000 mAh battery, still has better value than what you've done with the Note 20. And what's sad is the Note 20 is a good phone. Actually, it's probably an exceptional phone. Why? Flat display. So flat display wise, it's probably going to have a better experience than a curved display when it comes to the S Pen of the S20 of the Note 20 Ultra. And I don't understand why they made the curve on the Note 20 Ultra so pronounced when they went back on the S20 series and made it a bit more flatter. So that's where I'm thinking. So why not at least put a 90 Hz display in there? Honestly, and it wasn't even just me. You've got bigger content creators that said that, you know, this is probably the first time where you can say that a Note product is overpriced. Yeah, every Note product that's come out has been mad expensive. That's always been the creme de la creme, the coup de grace of what you're meant to be getting when it comes to that premium flagship phone. And it looks awesome, especially with the bronze, the mystic bronze finish, that matte finish and the frosted back. Oh, definitely. Every video I've been seeing, that phone's looking good. This is a perfect example when you try to do too much and too little all rolled into one, and you're cannibalizing yourself, and you are your own worst enemy before you even start recommending other brands. You know, whether it be your OnePluses, your Oppos, your Xiaomis, your Googles. You made the product look bad out the gate when it could have been much better. I don't know what you guys think, man. That's my thoughts on the new Note 20.